Good day, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well and is ready for the summertime. As mentioned, my name is Matt Lowe. I'm a senior product manager on the Microsoft Sentinel product, but I do also focus a bit on the XDR experiences as well. I'm also joined today by my colleague, Ben Nick, who will be assisting with questions in the chat, who is also a senior product manager who's helped tremendously and pioneered the case management experience today within the Defender portal. So with that, with that, we'll go ahead and get started. As always, as we're going through this, please, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A. We will read them at the end, and I can always revisit anything that I discuss or show. So for those of you who might not be familiar with case management or looking for more insights on case management, what exactly does case management mean within the Defender portal? Case management in this case is not just for incident response. A lot of people might think that, but in this case, how case management within Defender is, it can be a lot more. In this case, it could be used for vulnerability management, threat hunting, detection tuning, and more. Think of it as a way to create a trackable item that could be assigned to anyone with tasks to reflect work that is being done within the SOC. Case management sets out to empower SOC analysts and engineers to track their work while collaborating with others in ways that didn't exist before within Defender or Microsoft Sentinel. So please keep that in mind that when I'm talking about case management, I'm not just talking about incident response, but much more. The agenda for this presentation, we're going to be talking a little bit about the journey of case management, and then we'll get into the core topic of today's session, what's new. Of course, I'll be showing them live, and lastly, there will be an FAQ and a Q&A session. So let's get into what case management is right now. Over the last couple of months, case management has come a long way, going from private preview to public preview in January of 2025 to general availability this past March. With the general availability, we launched the core features such as case queue, custom statuses, and more. Then we reach our first milestone, our first stop in the improvement of case management, which is what we'll be talking about today. So with the launch of general availability for rich text support, attachments, and multi-tenant support. And of course, the journey doesn't stop there. We'll have our next milestone, second stop, coming in the future with a lot more of improvements. So please stay tuned. Please make sure to join our private community, and we'll have you take part in that and give your feedback to us. So today, what's currently in general availability status? We've got the case queue, cases themselves, custom statuses, case tasks, activities, linking incidents to cases, and then with today, we have attachments, rich text support, and multi-tenant support, all within GA, which are brand new. For those of you who have not checked out cases yet, or case management, it is present within your Defender portal today. You didn't have to enable anything. You don't, as long as you're an eligible customer, that is where you can find cases within your navigation in the left-hand side of the Defender menu. So go ahead and check that out, play around with it if you haven't already. And if you're already familiar with it, great. Thank you for checking it out. But let's get into what exactly is new. What is the exciting new features that we've been adding to the case management experience? So first, we're going to talk about rich text support. In this case, we are improving the comment section and collaboration area within cases in order to modernize it and bring it up to more up to snuff with what we have today in Teams and what other competitors might be doing. So the main additions that we're focusing on for this update are text manipulations, so coloring your font, bolding font, italicizing, strike through headers, titles, everything that you might experience today if you're using, say, Microsoft Teams. Bulleted numbers and lists. So if you're looking to organize your notes a little bit more with bullets and numbers, you can do that now with rich text support. HTML links. So for those of you who have used the collaboration area in the past, I would say with the Microsoft Sentinel instance or Defender, that we now have HTML links that could be added and clicked within the comment section. code snippets and blocks. So if you're looking to add, say, a PowerShell script in a nice formatted block or a KQL query that was run on an investigation, you can do that there. Quote blocks if needed. And lastly, tables. So I'll be showing tables a little bit by doing the advanced hunting query results and putting that in a case. Let's go on to attachments. If you recall from the Microsoft Sentinel incidents and Defender incidents experiences, neither of those options had attachments before. So this is a revolutionary new addition to the experience for SOC analysts and engineers by allowing them to attach artifacts to their work item. So as of today, all file formats are supported. So that includes zip folders, documents, Excel spreadsheets, MP3s, MP4s, CSV, JSON, and more. So any file that you think that you might need for an investigation, for threat hunting, or for your day-to-day SOC operation work, those file formats should be supported today. The current supported actions are upload, download, and delete. So your core actions that you're going to be using for interacting with attachments in a case. In terms of retention on attachments within a case, attachments are retained indefinitely within a blob storage account that is established for your tenant. If you're looking to attach malware samples or malware that you might have found in your investigation or your hunting, we do perform malware scanning on each and every piece of attachment that is added to a case. So if you're uploading malware samples or malware files by themselves, we will flag it. But to get around that, if you need to add it for investigation and tracking or sharing it with your the people that you're collaborating with, you can add those files to a password protected zip file. So if you encrypt it with a password, you can add the samples to that folder and share that within the case so that your colleagues can access it as well as needed. The maximum file size that we have today is 500 gigabytes per file. That coincides with our current capacity maximum of 500 gigs of all attachments for your entire tenant. So think of cases operating at the tenant level, not the workspace level. So that's why we have the 500 gigabyte ceiling in this case as of right now for your entire tenant and not per workspace. Lastly, we have multi-tenant support. Multi-tenant support allows you to gain visibility across all of your tenants within the Defender portal by using what we call multi-tenant organizations, or MTO for short. Cross-tenant queue functionality is similar to the multi-tenant incident queue that you might have seen within Microsoft Sentinel within Azure. So this allows you to scope what you would like to see rather than, in this case, rather than a workspace level, at a tenant level, and then that will bring in all of the cases from each tenant into one single case queue. This is great for organizations that may have subsidiaries or multiple tenants for their organization based on, say, testing, QA, production, or if other teams need their own tenant. So this allows organizations like that to consolidate all of their cases within one location for their main SOC team to operate. The current consideration for this is a cap of 50 selected tenants at a time for the case queue. Should this be a challenge for organizations that have maybe more than 50 tenants, we are happy to hear the feedback. And you can always let either Ben or I know that this is a challenge. We are always open to hearing the feedback and have conversations. But with that, let's go ahead and get into the Defender portal so that I may show you exactly what's been added. So for those of you who have not played around with it, maybe not have onboarded to the unified experience within Defender, this is what the experience looks like today. So for those of you familiar with Defender, it might look the same. For those of you not familiar, this is where Microsoft Sentinel is now housed. So this is the difference in navigation on the left-hand side. But below that, you'll see the case navigation. So I mentioned that screenshot earlier in the presentation. This is where cases can be found within your navigation. So if you're accessing it for the first time, you'll see some welcome cards, but I am a frequent user of cases in this scenario, so I don't need those pop-up cards. And here we have the case queue. Now, let's paint a scenario real quick. Let's say that I'm a SOC analyst who's been asked to perform some threat hunting with my environment. My task is to look for any devices that might be potentially vulnerable to any CVEs that are recent and make sure that there's nothing malicious going on with the activities of those devices while we work on also remediating those vulnerabilities. So I will go ahead and I'm going to start out by creating a new case. And I'm going to call it threat hunt for CVE, and then I'll give it a timestamp of 05/29/2025. Leave my status as new. Priority is going to be high, seeing that we do not like CVEs rolling around in our environment. I'll go ahead and assign this to myself. And I'll set a due date for getting it done by tomorrow. Go ahead and save the case. And I will begin my threat hunt. I'm going to go into my exposure management, then go into vulnerability management and go to vulnerabilities. Seeing that I want to see the most recent, I'm going to sort by descending. I can see my most recent ones, and I'm going to select this CVE 2025-5283, seeing that a lot of my colleagues and those in the field like to use Google Chrome as well as Microsoft Edge, and we want to make sure that we don't have any exposed devices. So I go to exposed devices and I can see that I have 6 devices that are currently exposed to this vulnerability potentially, with one of them being internet facing. This is concerning, so I'm going to go ahead and export this write-up to a CSV file. And I'm going to take note of this app proxy 02. I'm going to go ahead and go into my advanced hunting. And I'm going to run a query to check the device details for that device. Sorry about all the cards. So in this case, app proxy 02 is the device of interest for me. I'm just going to go ahead and check the device information and see what comes up. I'm only going to grab one result and project a few columns as I want to make sure I show the experience of copying advanced hunting results. So I run my query, I get my one result, and I'm going to go ahead and select export and copy to clipboard. With that copied, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my case. So when I click into the case, I have the case management experience. So here on the left-hand side, I have my summary. My middle is my activities. And on the right-hand side, I have tasks. So what I can find now is I can say I'm going to make this bold and say CVE checked, 6 devices found exposed. And then I'll list the main CVE, which is the CVE 2025-5283. I'm going to make that red, just to make sure I call out that this is a real issue here. Okay, if I could type correctly, there we go. So here's an example of me formatting my information within the activities. And then from there, I will also add the query in a second because I want to actually paste the results. So I'll go ahead and add that as a comment. So you can see here that I added this and it's formatted up here. Now I will paste the results of my advanced hunting with the URL to the advanced hunting results. And now I'll go back and add my query that I performed. Now everything is all nicely added to this case. I'm going to go ahead and go into my attachments, and I will upload my CSV that I exported with the exposed devices so that any other threat hunter, anyone else working on this issue can come in and download this themselves if they are looking to just shortcut directly into what is needed. Let's say I'll want to make a new task and remediate vulnerability within app proxy 02. Set that status to critical. Since it's an internet-facing device, I'll go ahead and assign that to the device owner, make that today, and go ahead and save that. So here's an example just of one quick threat hunting experience that might coincide with case management. Since I had a hypothesis or potentially a task to go look at the CVEs and any devices that might be found, I can also adjust my status to reflect what I have found in the work that I had just done. This is just one of many examples and scenarios that could take place within your SOC, and this is where cases can come up. Ultimately, if this were to expand upon into an active investigation, this is where I can also link my incidents for incident response and remediation. So just showing some of the flexibility of cases, especially with our new improvements for attachments and rich text. But I have not talked about multi-tenant support yet. So I'm going to pivot to what we call the MTO portal. So for those of you not familiar, we have a separate portal. It's just a 3-letter difference here at the top to allow you to see multiple tenants in one location and interact with each one. So for organizations that are looking to do multiple tenants with one SOC team or interflow between tenants easily, this is where MTO would come in, and this is the experience that you would see. For the demo today, I do not have a second tenant, but you could still see the improvements of MTO's experience. So again, if I go to cases, this may look exactly like the same case queue as the regular Defender portal, but what we have here on the right-hand side is a filter to show which tenant is providing that case. So if I were to have a second tenant for, say, Contoso Hotels, this is where Contoso Hotels would also be shown so that I know where the source is coming from. As a SOC analyst, I can also control what I'm seeing by clicking on this tenant filter and as it provides me a drop-down list of all the tenants that I have permissions to see and can onboard into this unified case queue. So in terms of functionality, everything that I had just shown previously for my CVE scenario applies to the multi-tenant experience as well. But in this case, I can now threat hunt or look at vulnerabilities across tenants and provide the same experience for multiple tenants at the same time. With that, that's the end of the demo for right now. Again, if I need to revisit anything, please call it out within the Q&A. If there is any curiosities, please add that to the Q&A as well. In terms of learning resources, we are continuously building out this library of options. For reading materials, we do have our public documentation. At the same time, we are working on a Learn module and learning path. So for those of you who like doing the Learn modules and getting badges, there will be an option for case management in the near future. For blogs, we have a few options for announcements if you're looking for other key details that might be called out within the blogs. And lastly, we have a brand new Ninja training provided by Ben within our new YouTube channel. So if you're looking to also see what Ben has to say and go through the Ninja training option, that video is live as of yesterday, I believe. Again, at the beginning of this, I did call out the journey that case management has gone on. Again, we invite you to take part in the journey with us, take part in the private preview community, allowing us to get our improvements into your hands sooner, but also making sure that we capture your feedback, thoughts, and feelings as we improve the product over time. So if you are passionate about case management, if you're really looking to use case management within your SOC, or if you're an MSSP and would like to use it with your clients, we'd love to have you as part of our experience and make sure that we are capturing any and all of your use cases so that we can make case management the best experience possible for you. I did jot down a few FAQs. We also will have the Q&A here after this, but I just wanted to call out a couple of questions that we frequently get. A lot of you might be thinking, what are the differences between incidents and cases in this scenario? As mentioned at the start, cases are not just for incident response. Cases could be many things, like I just showed the threat hunting scenario, vulnerability management, tuning your detections that are noisy, and so on and so forth. Cases can be a bucket for incidents, but that's not how we want to necessarily see it. Whereas incidents are buckets of alerts, malicious activities that need to be investigated. There's no real opportunity for incidents to be beyond just incidents or malicious activities or things that need to be investigated. So that's the distinguishing factor, is the flexibility and the potential of cases to be more than just IR. So for those of you who might be wondering what cases could be used for, please, again, keep that in mind. For the question on retention, at this time, cases are retained for 180 days. So we are open to hearing feedback if more is needed. We understand that there are flexible scenarios or regulations that require longer retention. So if that is required, please speak up. Please talk to us. We would love to hear it. Is case management coming to the Azure portal? The answer, unfortunately, for those of you who like the Azure experience, the answer is no. As of today, our focus is on improving the Defender portal experience for Microsoft Sentinel, and in this case management for both Defender and Sentinel. So if you're looking to use case management, please use the Defender portal and the new unified experience that's provided there. Are there plans to add more to case management? The answer is absolutely yes. This is a constant investment from us. We're going to continue to invest into it to improve the experience, to mature the experience, and make sure that we are covering any and all requirements from our customers. So again, that's where the community connection program will come into play. If you're not already part of it, please join it, speak up. We'd love to have your thoughts and ideas in our plans. Is case management just for Microsoft Sentinel users? The answer there is no. You can use it as a Defender user as well. So this new feature and offering, anything that we've highlighted today and in the past, applies to both SIEM and XDR customers from Microsoft. So we are not keeping it from anyone there. Lastly, is there a cost to use case management? So for those of you familiar with Microsoft Sentinel's billing model, case management is not a pay-as-you-go model. So there's no cost per case or anything like that from the Microsoft Sentinel side. From the Defender side, if you're more familiar with Defender billing, at this time, there is no requirement for additional licensing to use case management. I believe the requirements is that you are an E5 customer with Microsoft in order to get access to it and are using the Defender portal. Ben, anything that I might have missed? Anything you might want to add there?
No, there's just been some great questions that have been posted in the Q&A. I've been doing my best to keep on top of them. You know, the questions and feature requests coming in are really fantastic. And all I have to say is a general stay tuned. There are no announcements on these being made today, although a lot of these items are top of mind. And the future is something I love to share when it arrives.
Thanks, Ben. With that, I'm going to go ahead and catch up on the Q&A and read out any of the questions that are unanswered at this time. So let's take a look here. One question is, how do I enable this unified experience within Defender? It's a great question. We have a lot of public details on it, documents, webinars, and such, but the short answer is, as long as you have the correct permissions within your tenant, you can just as simply as go to your Defender environment and go into settings, and you will have a new option for Microsoft Sentinel there. Again, if you have the correct permissions. I don't have permissions in this environment, I believe, but if I were to have those permissions, I can click on this, and it's as simple as clicking on a workspace and clicking the button that says connect. So I don't know if anyone else on the Microsoft side on this call can provide a link to the person who asked. That would be great. Another person asked, how can case management be used as an MSSP? That's where the MTO portal comes in. So if you're working with clients and you are given access to their tenant through, say, B2B, Entra, anything like that, that's where case management will come in. I'm not sure actually about the GDAP. Ben, is GDAP eligible with case management for MSSPs?
I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to that question right now.
No worries. We can follow up with that. For the person who asked, if you want to reach out to me via email or Teams, I can make sure that I follow up on that. From Eric, are there any integrations with third-party ticket systems like Team Dynamics? We already have a ticket system and are using it, and using cases would require manually copying, pasting, and information between the two. Stay tuned for what we have planned. I can't comment on anything publicly right now. Do we have anything else that is unanswered?
Yeah, one just came in that says, what will happen when a case hits 180 days? Is there a storage location for legacy cases? Will the data be an ADX?
This is a top request that we get, and absolutely, you look at case management systems, and people have requirements to hang on to cases for years, and some of them require rehydration. Others are sufficient with having just archive storage and, as you say, ADX. So no announcements today, but this is something that is top of mind.
Thanks, Ben. Our next question says, if you link an incident and a case, then resolve that case, will the incident also be resolved?
Another top request, right now they're independent. Yeah, we've definitely heard this requirement, and this is a public forum, so I can't make any announcements.
Sounds good. The next question says, is there a way to tag cases to allow for metrics? Example, how many threat hunts have we completed in the last month?
Right. So I say you guys have the most fantastic questions, and you're kind of reading our minds. So I can't say exactly today, but yeah, tags is another top feature request.
Perfect. And then the next question says, is there any option to generate custom reports?
Actually, before I move on to that one, back to the tagging. So one of the things that we do enable is custom status. And so one way to handle that is to have custom statuses for how many threat hunts have been completed. And I think our demo, we might have had hypothesis verified or invalidated. You can do something very similar with that in the case queue. Now moving on to the next question, would you mind repeating it? I just want to make sure that I answer it properly.
No problem. It says, is there any option to generate custom reports?
Okay, again, public forum. Currently, no, but yes, this is something that's top of mind, and I think somebody mentioned ADX. Advanced hunting also is a great place for tables, and that again, no public announcements today. But yeah, that is SLAs, dashboards, and then also generating reports similar to what happens with incidents, all top of mind items. So thank you.
Perfect. The next question says, for MTO, what's the current limit? Is this available on GCC as well?
My understanding is the limit would be 50 tenants for MTO, and all the limits that we have for case management are defined on a single tenant basis. So we support up to 100,000 tenants, 100,000 cases per tenant in this initial offering, and multiply that by 50, and that would be the limit for cases. And for GCC, I believe the standard policy is government clouds get like 30 days plus GA after GA. So we're working on completing that right now.
And small
Awesome.
correction, I believe the current capacity for MTO is 100 tenants, not 50.
Oh, okay. That
So
went
they
out
did
there.
double
Great.
it, and I believe they're also investigating if they can increase that even more as we have more customers use MTO. So stay tuned on more improvements there.
I was
Great.
aware of the announcement. Thank you.
Awesome. And the next question says, how is case management different than Hunt's feature in Sentinel?
Great question. So the hunts feature in Sentinel is focused specifically on hunting. It's in a preview state after 4 years, and it has deep integrations with hunting queries, with custom, well, they're called custom detections in the Defender portal, but for Sentinel, it's I believe it is analytic rules. Additionally, there's bookmark integration as well. However, it doesn't have all of the custom status and file attachment capabilities you'll have in case management. And we've received customer requests also to integrate querying capabilities within case management, which would start to make things better for hunting within the case management system.
Great. And our next question says, how can investigation graph be helpful?
Great question. So one of the key differentiators between incidents and case management is that incidents is much more tuned towards incident response, triage, and investigation. So that's where you're going to get the investigation graph, as well as alert timelines, assets, and evidence and such. The cases area is more focused on collaboration, customization, and also a broader set of scenarios. So we've had customers, for instance, do alert tuning, where you can create a case from an incident and basically say, hey, this is an FP, security engineering team, please fix this. And you don't have to leave the portal for that. And so that's clearly something that's not part of the IRQ. And so that is a place where cases are differentiated from incidents.
And I'd also like to add, this is where you can still use a lot of the features that we talked about today with incident response. So if you're using the investigation graph and want that to be a little bit more viewable within a case, I can say screenshot this and place it as an attachment or a comment within the activities of a case, or copying like an incident summary from Copilot and pasting that within the case itself, calling out that that was the incident summary. So there are ways where it can go hand in hand, where you can bring some of the experiences or items that you care about within an incident within a case to make it a little bit more merged together, so to speak.
Right.
Perfect. And it looks like that was our last question. So any last points from Ben or Nick before I close this out? No? Perfect. Great. Well, thank you so much, Matt and Ben, for being our guests today and for sharing all that great information with our community. Also, thank you to the Q&A team who helped us with answering the questions and providing the resourceful information. To all the listeners still on the line, if you're someone who wishes to aid in the protection of the world from cyber threats and desire to have a say in shaping our strategies, blueprints, and recommendations, then we invite you to become part of our security community. Together, we can make a global impact. So join us at aka.ms/securitycommunity. This is also where you'll be notified about upcoming webinars, events, and other announcements. For those of you who may have additional questions on the topic we just covered or other product-related questions, please feel free to raise them on our Microsoft Tech community discussion space at aka.ms/Microsoft Sentinel Community. Thank you all for being part of our community and for joining us on these webinars. We hope to see you next time. Goodbye.